paper published this week is first authored by Whitney Irie and final author Jenell Stewart. It's an exciting paper which really looks at the somewhat provocative question of, can we use oral PrEP in a very short-acting way? In other words, at the time of potential HIV exposure. So we call that on-demand PrEP. And at the moment, we have good clinical research in particularly men who have sex with men. And we have some WHO recommendation also to extend that to cisgender heterosexual men. We don't have any clinical research for women. We do know, however, that women who aren't necessarily having sex regularly, but do still feel that they could benefit from a pre-exposure prophylaxis at the time of potential exposure, might benefit greatly from a strategy such as on-demand PrEP. So what Whitney, Jenell, and a few other authors have really explored in this paper is, what would it take to be able to extend the indication to all populations around the world, including young women and girls. And so the paper investigates what we already know, where the research gaps, and in a way is a call to action to say, let's move the field forward to be more inclusive of populations that could benefit from this. So to explain a little bit more, the idea is, certainly in the context of men who have sex with men, that you take 2 oral PrEP pills within 2 to 24 hours of potential exposure, in other words, in sexual intercourse, 1 single oral PrEP pill 1 day later, and another one 1 day after that. So we call that the 2-1-1 regimen. What we don't know in young women and girls is whether that regimen is adequate, or indeed whether we need to modify that regimen somewhat in order to ensure that if somebody is using those 4 pills, it is going to be adequate for protection. We do know from people who are using oral PrEP consistently that even if they use 4 pills in a week, that is very good and effective, even amongst women. We don't know, though, how important it is to have a loading dose and how much the need is to have tissue levels, blood levels that are adequate. And so these are the research gaps. But at the same time, I think really important to recognize that we are likely to have better coverage of primary prevention, specifically pre-exposure prophylaxis, if we offer people a range of different regimens, choices, formulations, and ways of doing PrEP. So exciting time to think outside of the box and see how much we can change the face of HIV prevention.